What's up, everybody? Welcome to High School Never Ends, a pop punk dad podcast. I said that and accentuated that because, yes, we love pop punk on this show. But today, if you've been following along this month, it's still going to be a little bit different today. Because today, and I'm Chris 183, by the way, I am joined by two very important people. One of them being the other host of the show, Steve, or as you guys know, as you guys know, Wingman Steve. Steve, where you been?
And I'm Wingman Steve. This is weird. What happened to the show? I feel uncomfortable. I took a little hiatus here and went to France, and now I'm back because apparently while I was gone, you did a Summertime Weezer Spectacular, and we're going to talk about this brand new album here, and I couldn't miss out on that. There's a brand new album. I want to talk about it too. Can I come back? Am I welcome?
You're more than welcome.
Oh, thanks.
I'm actually really excited that you did come back for this one. I thought you were going to skip out of the entire month of Weezer, but no, you decided to come back during probably, arguably, the most important one of all of them, because this one is special. We have a lot to talk about today. And by the way, sorry for screwing up that intro. I'm not used to doing that. You have to understand, I'm used to being and I'm Chris 183. So it didn't really flow. However, maybe someday we'll get there.
It was perfectly imperfect.
Listen, that's what this show is. So we're good. Today, I said that we have a couple very special guests. Steve's not a guest. He's a part of the show.
Oh, thanks.
But we have somebody else here that has been waiting a long time to come back on the show. This individual has had thoughts on this band Weezer from the first time we had a conversation, whether it be on the Discord or somewhere else. I think we've talked about Weezer from the beginning. She has been on this show to talk about Weezer before. She is a Weezer super fan. I'm just going to say it because I'm a super fan too. So if you're not, say so. But I'd like for everybody to welcome back to the show, Ashleigh. Ashleigh, it's so nice to have you back to talk about this band.
Thank you so much for having me. And I am so honored for being asked to be a part of this. And I guess you could call me a super fan. I am wearing my Weezer fan club shirt. I have a bunch of Weezer shirts. I figured, why not wear one for this? It's a special occasion. So thanks for having me for this wonderful month. And also, happy belated birthday, Chris.
Wow.
You too. You too.
That's
You guys share a birthday. I remember that.
That's right. You do. Happy
Thank
birthday to
you.
you too. That's awesome. August is the best. I wish
Really?
every month was August, honestly.
It is the best.
I mean, we could talk about Weezer all month. We have birthdays. We get these cool shirts. And by the way, I did wear that shirt for a previous episode, so I couldn't wear it again. You can't wear the same shirt on two of the same episodes, right?
You could. Nobody sees the video. It's okay.
We just talked about it though.
Oh, okay.
Even though they're probably on different days, so I probably could do it.
I'm assuming
Right.
you washed it in between.
Well, there's different levels of washing shirts. I don't think that you should always wash them right away, depending. Like if you go and you go outside and run, I think you wash a shirt. But if you just wear it for a couple hours, do you still have to wash it?
Mm,
Depends.
that's hard.
It's a
I don't
personal.
sweat.
It's a
I don't
personal
sweat that
decision.
much. So, all right. Well, we'll have a debate later. We got a lot to debate here. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about a Weezer album. We said that it's the Weezer Summertime Spectacular. But we didn't tell you exactly what it is that we're talking about. And we thought it was appropriate for this last one that we're going to do to send off, all of our fans with a big one. And we just had a brand new release from the band Weezer with a ton of fanfare and build. And it finally came out not too long ago. So the assignment was, let's do Weezer, the Gold album. Let's talk about it. And even though we didn't have that much time to prep for it, I think it was just enough time to prep and talk about it. Steve, do you agree or disagree?
I think I got enough. I marked the date of my triumphant return. I marked the date and I confirmed it with you a few days before to make sure I knew that the album came out, last week on Friday. And when I was driving in my car, when I was working on the computer, when I was to and from, I was listening to this album nonstop for how many days? 5 days. So, we had to concentrate. Ashleigh mentioned it was kind of like cramming for a test. Hopefully, you didn't have any of those nightmares where you wake up and you miss the test or something like that. But I think it's enough time as long as you weren't like jam packed the entire weekend. I had a little bit of time here and there. It was perfect.
How about you, Ashley?
Oh, I think it's just normally I feel like I really want to sound like I know what I'm talking about. And most times with Weezer, I feel like I can. And this was just like a new challenge of like you only have 5 days and let's see what can come from that. And I think it was plenty of time to get a sense of the album, but I am anticipating that I'm going to have some opinions today that I probably won't have 6 months, a year from now, depending on how many more times I listen to it and how that changes. So, yeah, just the disclaimer of like, this is a first listen, and maybe some people are going to disagree with the opinions, and that's maybe a good thing.
People always disagree with the opinions. And by the way, don't short sell yourself. I got to tell you guys on our Discord, if you're not on it, you should be. But actually, like she has one of the most well thought out responses to things that I've ever seen. It's we're having a conversation, then all of a sudden you interject this big paragraph of just the most well thought out front to back story in response to things that we're talking about. So I definitely got to call that out. So that's a compliment. Take it. But I also will say, I agree with all of you guys. I think it was plenty of time to really just deep dive this album. And I really, want to start with the journey to now with the Gold album. I don't think we need to talk about nostalgia with it because first of all, there's no nostalgia. This is a new album. We kind of already talked about our nostalgia with Weezer in previous episodes. We've talked about, how invested we are. Maybe, myself and Ashley a little bit more than Steve. I know Steve, you're a fan of some of their stuff for sure. But I want to talk about the journey to getting to this point. So we already talked about the fact that Summertime Spectacular, we've talked about a lot of Weezer albums. Just recently, we talked about one called Everything Will Be All Right in the End. And again, if you haven't heard that episode, go check it out. I think that one's important to talk about because there's going to be a lot of parallel themes, from that one to this one that I'm going to bring up that I really want you guys' opinion on. That album was another album where some may feel that they went back or they tried to go back to that same feeling from the beginning. And as we'll get into it here, I do believe that some of those same themes do permeate the Gold album as well. But just some overarching things, and I might be going out of order. There's a lot of things to talk about. So the singles were a big part of the launch to this album. We might as well be strangers, CEO, and then correct me if I'm wrong. Was the other one Shine Again, or was it a different one that was okay? Shine Again was
Yeah.
out there. Wasn't that the first one?
Yes.
So
What
how
did you
long
guys
ago
think
did they
about
release that?
Shine Again? I don't know. Do you guys remember? It was a couple months ago.
It wasn't long. Wasn't long. Yeah, just it was the summer.
Okay.
Did you guys like these singles? I mean, did you think that they got you excited for the album, or did it do the opposite?
Go ahead.
Um, I I guess I wasn't sure how I felt. I knew that I liked the sound right away, but I also have been very particular about lyrics, particularly from Weezer over the years. So we can get into some of the opinions about that. But I knew I liked the sound right away, and that was a good thing because it made me want to listen again and then hear more. So it was a good start. I wouldn't say I was like blown away by any means, but it's kind of hard to do that these days. So
Okay.
that's where I came into the album.
Fair enough. What about you, Steve?
Well, listen, you guys know my stance on Weezer is that I feel like Weezer's like perfectly fine, but they're not really like a favorite band of mine. And I didn't really catch all of these singles. There's only one that I caught. It was We Might As Well Be Strangers. I think Chris, you might have said to me like, "Man, this song is so good" or something like that. And I listened to it and I was like, I really like this one. And then I started to hear it on alternative radio. So until the album came out, I didn't know Shine Again. I didn't know CEO, although I saw, I'm on their fan club or their email list. That's probably the better way to say it, the email list. So I saw their like clever little like letter from the CEO and saw that that's kind of like a theme, but I didn't hear that song before, last Friday. So We Might As Well Be Strangers, the only one that I heard. And I thought it was a good single. We'll get into the details. I wanted to pose a question, but maybe Chris, you want to answer your own question before I do that. I want to give you that chance.
Listen, it made me excited. Yes, I'll just answer it really easy. Like these three songs, and I get kind of cranky when too much material comes out before the album launches. I don't think they did that. I think three was fine. I think CEO hit right before the album dropped, and
Like a
they
week
timed it out perfectly.
or more than a
What's
week?
that?
Like a week or
Nope.
like more than a week?
It might have been a little bit more than that, but
Okay.
I don't know the exact timing, but it was not that long, and it really got me pumped to hear this album because of that song, and I'll talk about that a little bit more in a little bit. But yeah, so this was great. So, like this was exactly what I wanted. These three songs got me hyped to listen to Gold. And then, so you had a question, Steve?
I think I'm going to put it in my pocket. I'm going to save it for a little bit later on because I think it might tie in later on a little bit better. So I'm going to pause on my question.
Okay, so moving forward with the journey, I want to talk a little bit about the build of this album. So we had things like we had the resurgence of Go Away, and we talked about that on the last episode. I talked about that with Steve from Steve in the Wilderness because that song was actually on Everything Will Be All Right in the End from 2014. So there was a resurgence of a song that was part of the build for, I think it was inadvertent, but it worked, and it was kind of perfectly timed. I don't know if it was on purpose or not. Who knows? Maybe I'm getting sucked in. We had the Gathering announcement, and that was a big deal. And then we had this special Weezer golden artifact that was basically shown in little bits over the course of time. So they did all these things. I don't remember them necessarily doing this in the past like this. Did you guys think this was fun? Did you have any thoughts on the build, this resurgence of a song, the gathering, and that sort of thing? Do you think it worked?
I think I was curious because their last big tour was Voyage to the Blue Planet, and that was kind of in many ways like a retrospective of going all the way back to the beginning. And so it's sort of like when once you go to space, where do you go from there? So I was like, okay, so how are they going to make this one new and big? And I was watching some of the little teasers and the little like clips that were introducing this, and it didn't really shed much light. I didn't feel it shed much light on the content of the album, but it was definitely like quirky and like made me curious, made me want to learn more. And also for people who maybe weren't familiar with Weezer, I thought, well, this could be a fun way to get people interested. So I thought it was kind of cute.
Yeah. The Gathering was it a concert, or was it to get people to record stores for the launch of the album? What was The Gathering?
It will be. It's just their concert or the tour that is it's starting soon if it hasn't started already. But that's what it's called. The Gathering.
Nice. That's the concert I'm not going to because no one would go on a Monday.
Chris gets
3
so
hours
mad
away.
when that happens that he just writes off the entire. Doesn't want to hear about it.
It's 3 hours away. So look, I understand, but still, like after listening to this album, I am devastated. Anyway, moving on. You know what else is cool about this too is It Go Away. It's a great song, by the way. And it's a song that, and this is the only thing I'll say because again, I went on and on about this last episode. It's a song that I don't know how I missed it back then in 2014. There's so much to say about it that's great, but I think it goes to show that old Weezer material can be rediscovered. That there may be songs that, go back that can be brought back into the forefront in today's world where we have things like TikTok and social media where things can be put back right into pop culture that may have been missed from 10, 12, 14, 15 years ago. That's really cool to think about that. And it's also really cool to think that Weezer has content like that that people may have just forgot about that we can bring back and it's still really good. So love that. So it's been 12 years since that everything will be all right in the end, which is a long time, over a decade. And the question to you guys is, we talked about the theme for that album, and I know you missed it, Steve, but everything will be on the right, all right in the end. There's a lot of themes, there's a lot of thematic lyrics and overtures that talk about basically, it's kind of like I don't want to say an apology to people for going in a different direction and saying, look, we know what you guys want. We're sorry that we decided to, do something different. Here's the result of that. So kind of like a reconciliation with the fans that didn't necessarily like the direction that the band went in. That was one of the main themes of that album. As we come to now, does this album Gold once again address who is Weezer supposed to be? Do you think that that's a main theme of this album? Who the band Weezer is today?
I think so. I mean, they definitely talk about who they are as a band in multiple songs and multiple lyrics. The thing I don't understand is like, I don't know why does Weezer and Rivers feel the need to please anybody? Like they're a huge band. Can't they just like, it seems like he doesn't think he's a big deal, but they're headlining stadiums, they're selling out giant arenas. Like Weezer is huge. Whether or not they're my favorite band doesn't matter. Like I can certainly admit that Weezer is an incredibly influential band with millions and millions of fans. I don't. Maybe that's just an artist and feeling insecure, and he's in a room writing these songs. He's not with us where we are listening to these songs, analyzing these songs. But I'm like, dude, everything is good. Why are you so insecure? Like, but I feel like it is somewhat of a theme. Yes.
I'd like for you to respond to that, Ashleigh, if you can.
Yeah, yeah. I I wonder if, I mean, this is going way, way back, but the whole, when you think about Pinkerton, Rivers' insecurity, it was like one of the main themes of the entire album. And so I feel like it's not a new thing, but like you said, Steve, like, is that something that eventually you're supposed to get through? Or, you'd think that someone who's in this major rock band would, and has seen a ton of success would be over it by now? Or is that just who he is and he doesn't know any other way? But as far as who Weezer is now, I think one thing that I really appreciated, and hopefully we'll look at in a little more detail with individual songs, but the themes of adulthood and not relying on some of these like youthful kid like tropes that I feel like they've relied on in the past, kind of far past the time that they were teenagers. So I really appreciated that. I felt like there was some maturity there, and I thought that was a really positive thing.
I think that's a great point, and I really do think that Gold is doing the things in it's putting an adult, like a mature, like you just said, like it's putting a mature spin on what Weezer used to be. Like you think about, Blue and Pinkerton, that sound, I think it's self-realized in Gold. They understand that that's what a lot of people want, but this is who we want to be. So let's mix the two together and let's see what comes out of that. And I think that they were able to do that on this album a lot in a lot of the songs. And it showed. And back to your point, Steve, I think that, and to Ashleigh's point, thinking about, Rivers Cuomo, like he definitely is a guy that is very self-conscious or was, and I don't know him personally. Again, I don't want to make assumptions. This is just based on things that we've read and interviews and that sort of thing. But I guess we have to understand that, there was a period of time, Make Believe, Red, Ratitude, Hurley, in between, what was a big, the big time for them, Blue, Pinkerton, even Green coming back, and then Maladroit. Um, they took a beating as a band. It was heavy criticism towards the band going in that direction of Ratitude, of Hurley, of Red, of Make Believe. And I think he took it to heart. So again, that reconciliation of when they got to everything will be all right in the end, I think he needed to do that to feel like a certain way. Like, okay, fine. We'll do things, a little bit differently. We want you guys to come back. We don't want everybody to be mad. But since then, like they've done a little bit of that, but they've also veered away. They did some cover. They did the cover album. They did stuff like Black that was, mixed reception for a lot of reasons. We actually talked about that. They even put out Seasons in 2022, which was, several years ago. And I think that one really got muted response. Like, I didn't hear a ton of people talking about those EPs. And sometimes that's worse than a critical reception if you don't hear anything. So I think, again, like we talk about the time in between the albums that people openly embraced, they have gone in different directions, Steve. They have tried different things. And generally, like to a lot of their fans, it hasn't worked. So in any case, I think that's, why on this album, songs like CEO, I think it's a personification of the fact that, think he started thinking like a CEO. And it's like, okay, well, instead of worrying about why the fans don't want this band to experiment, let's dig a little bit deeper into to better understand, why they want what they want. Do a little bit of market research, think about it, come at it from a different perspective. We're grown-ups, we're adults now. We can look at things in a little bit different of a way, and we can make these songs that reflect that. So I think that they were able to accomplish that. But I think the last question I had about the journey to now is, guys, what do you think people were hoping for with this album? We had Seasons, we had Van Weezer, we had OK Human, we had Black. That's spanning all the way back to 2019 through 2022. So it's been all of those years plus another 4 years since we've had a Weezer album. What were people hoping for?
I'm not qualified to answer this question at all. I pass.
Okay, fair enough.
Well, I am a light participant on the Weezer fan club message boards. And I think people, first of all, I think people thought it was going to be a different color, but we knew it was going to be a color. It was like, which color is it going to be? Which is very funny. But as far as the content, I really think people, because we didn't get a preview of any of these songs on the last tour, like I don't even know if any of them had been written yet. So there was not really, I think, a sense of what this could possibly be. The last ones before this, like you said, Seasons were kind of their own thing. And so I think people were hoping for something like Everything Will Be All Right in the End, because in many ways it does have a little bit of the earlier sound, the earliest sound. So I think my very early assessment of the reception from other super fans is that people are pretty happy with it. But yeah, it's I can't wait to talk a little bit more about it.
It's funny how we chase nostalgia, and it's hey, Steve, we're on a show that chases nostalgia. Like that's what we do. We're pop punk dads, right? So it's crazy how that just kind of reels people in. But I always think to myself like, okay, how, and I think this is more of a question to the end. So I'm going to save this one, and I'll refer back to this moment. Where I want to go next, a couple fun facts about the album. So this album actually, if you think about the production of it, it was more so than ever produced by the whole band versus just Rivers. So that was a little bit different of a direction, and I think that you think about does it sound that way, and I don't know. I don't know if I'm musically in tuned enough to hear that, but what do you think, Ashley? Do you hear the difference in the fact that it was written and produced by for whatever reason, like maybe the whole band and on some of the songs?
Yeah, I think that was one of the things that I felt like I didn't really have enough time to dig into. I do know, thinking back to, like, for example, the Red album, there were individual songs on that album that were written by other individual band members, and I felt like it was really clear what those songs were. And I haven't looked into the credits for this one. I have some guesses, if there are some songs on here that are more like, Pat took the lead in writing this one, or Brian, but I don't know for sure. So yeah, I'm curious to to find out more.
All right, I have the answers for you on some of them. So,
Okay, great.
but before I say anything on those, when we go to the songs, I'll have you guess.
Okay.
Good stuff though. And what's cool again, going just to that theme is if you look on the cover of the Gold album, it has the four symbols. It's supposed to represent all four members of the band. So I don't know who goes with what symbol, but it's kind of cool, right? I think I did read something that said, "Oh yeah, this is the first album to do that." That's not necessarily true because how many of their other albums have all of the band members been on the cover? So I don't know about that, but I liked it a lot. One other quote that I found about this album I thought was really cool, and it made me really think about it. I read, and this is quoting, this album has blues focus with Pinkerton's explosiveness, but not a recreation of either. And I think that that's pretty spot on. What do you guys think? You agree?
Can you
Disagree?
repeat can you repeat that again? Blues
Blues
folk.
focus with Pinkerton's explosiveness.
Agree.
You just saying that?
No, I mean, I have to like really think about it because we did do 4 Weezer albums, but that was like 2 years ago. Maybe
It
it was
was.
3 years
It
ago.
was.
I don't know. So I don't remember like the full albums, but I do remember the vibes and the thoughts between each. So having listened to this one thoroughly, I agree.
Mm.
I'll let you think about that, Ashley, and
Yeah,
then
I
but
need
I'll,
to.
I'll I'll say one more thing, and this is something else I found. The producer, and there were a couple producers on this album. They wanted a more, this isn't my words, more violent sound. So, but they weren't looking for heavier or metal. They wanted something less polished, in terms of the guitars, with imperfections, and with a sound that was, quote, slightly out of control, like a live performance. And I love all of that. Like I think that's a great sound. And I think they did it. Like I think that's what this album sounded like. So
I do have a word that I'm going to describe a lot of the songs and the guitars of the songs, but I'm keeping that in my pocket too till we get to it.
I know you guys want
And
to
then
get
you'll
to the
hear it a lot
songs.
of times.
Yeah, no, there's a lot to talk about. And I listen all month, Steve. You haven't been here, but I have been prefacing the album with a lot of cool stuff. I just want to just like discussion points about Weezer and about the album and leading up to it. One last thing that I did want to get to is stats on the album or some other big facts. So this one was released just right around the corner, just recently, August 21st, 2026. That was post birthday for myself and Ashley. It is there, Steve. Okay, before I say this, how many studio albums has Weezer put out?
If I were to take a guess, I would say 20.
You are spot on.
I know. I looked that up beforehand. I was going to say, I can't believe, like, dude, don't be so insecure. You did 20 albums. You got people buying tickets.
20 albums.
You've done this before.
34 years is what I had as a number for this band to be together.
Yes, 34. February 14th, 1992.
It's crazy. How many color albums were out there? Do you guys know? Including this one.
That I don't know. I would have to just take a random guess.
Yeah. Take a random guess.
8?
Ashleigh?
9.
It's actually 7. So
I win.
Think
Man,
about
fire.
it. It's blue, it's green, it's white, it's black, it's teal, it's red, and now you have gold. So the producers on this one were Kenneth Bloom, who goes by Kenny Beats, and Klaus Aulund. I don't know Klaus, but those were the producers. And of course, it's brand new, so no Billboard stats just yet that I could pull. Outside of that, I don't have anything else. Guys, any other topics, thoughts, comments before we get into the song by song?
I'm ready to go.
Let's go.
All right, Steve, I could sense nothing short of excitement in your voice. So I want you to kick things off. Let's go to that first track, Say Yes.
You want me to start? Okay, Say Yes. I don't even remember how to podcast, guys. It's been I am rusty.
It's like riding a bike. Like riding a bike.
No, I'll be fine. Okay, so I don't listen to a whole lot of Weezer albums and not a whole lot of Weezer in its entirety. So listening to this album in its entirety multiple times was something that, other than when we did it for the show a couple years ago, something relatively new for me. Listening to Say Yes, I found in the beginning the kind of like uneven, steadily increasing pace in the beginning a little annoying. Once the first chorus kicks in, I started to like the song much better. Really cool guitar work. There's a very strong, memorable chorus, and this is the word that I'm using, Chris. It's grungy. The guitars are grungy in these songs. It's a mix of this like whimsical chorus with grungy chords, and it works really well. And the post-chorus, whatever you call that, I'm telling you, Jack, hit the road, don't ever go back. Very good. Has a great guitar solo, a lot of that in this. Other than like the way it kind of started, I really like this as a kickoff track.
What did you think, Ashleigh?
Yeah, I think my word, which I fully approve of, the grungy word is crunchy guitars, which I feel like.
Can we make a new word and call it grunchy?
You could.
Go ahead.
Yeah. The grunchy guitars. I really, that was something that you hear right away. And I immediately felt like, okay, if this is where this is going, this feels really, really good. I think that the themes for this song, maybe just because it's the first song and I'm going to be thinking about it throughout the entire album listen, is just reminding us like, hey, you don't have to choose the boring life. Like, take chances, be spontaneous. I only get one weird life, is one of the lines that he says. Say yes, like get outside of your comfort zone and just do it. So I really appreciated that. I felt like that was something that comes with maturity and wisdom and experience. And then the song just like had such a great sound, with the crunchy, grungy guitars.
We're gonna keep that going.
Yeah. What about you, Chris?
Oh yeah, you know what, the grungy sounds, that's exactly, I almost wrote that down and I didn't, but it's you guys are spot on with that. So musically, I think we're along the same lines. This song actually started out as a song called School Sucks, and Rivers wrote it for his middle schooler as just like something fun to write a song about, but it evolved into this. And what I read was this was music. This is about the music industry and the pressure to function properly within a machine. And if you look at the lyrics, Think about the lines like, say yes, even if I don't believe it's true. They'll frighten you, gaslighting you till you don't know how to act. I'm telling you, Jack, hit the road, don't ever go back. So, it's kind of one of those songs talking about, maybe some of his experiences. I love your take though on it, Ashley. I think that, I listen, I'm always on the other side of the coin myself with Steve. He always brings up what it actually is and then or what it should be, and then I bring up other stuff. And it's all about how you interpret music. I think that's the best thing about it. But man, this song is so good. Like I always really want a really strong opener to any Weezer album. And when it's not incredibly strong, and they're out there, I kind of I just get suspicious. This is not one of them. I love the way this song starts. I love the way that that beat increases and you start very slow, almost folky, and you build on that and you have that percussion. You have those drumstick beats that just get progressively, faster until you get into the much faster percussion and the explosion. Say yes, it has that enormous chorus. It's so great. So this album's all about enormous choruses, and this one starts out with one of them. Love the line like Yoko to John. That's really cool. It's just clever, but I think that Weezer is pretty clever with the way they write. I like the way that they shifted it to a more upbeat version of the second verse versus the first. That was always sounded great. And I really musically loved I don't know if it's a bridge, but we'll just call it a bridge because it doesn't seem like a verse. It's a bridge into a solo, guitar solo, into another bridge, and then into the chorus to kind of wrap. This song is memorable. It's catchy. The guitars are amazing, crunchy, grunchy, whatever you want to call them. I love it. And it's a melody that I can't get out of my head. So I was nothing but excited about this track and I loved it. And it made me want to listen to more. And with that, we can go into the next track, which is called Shine Again, one of the singles. Ashley, why don't you start off with this one?
Yeah, I heard this one a lot today because my daughter requested to hear it a few times, which is shocking. But I I liked well, I have one beef with the song, which I'll mention in a second, but I like how it started out with kind of the guitars were kind of thudding, kind of monotonous, and he was describing some things that are just like kind of the monotony of daily life, being an adult, like the walk to school or just the tasks that you have to do as an adult. But also that balance of like, and also this is what a stable, normal life looks like. That's not necessarily a bad thing. So I've liked that the music kind of matched the lyrics with that to begin. And then then it really really built into like remembering like you have this light inside you, like don't succumb to just like the day to day, like it's still there. Um and uh and then the music also built with that as well, to really like some cascading guitars, like the guitar solo was so strong with this one. And I think overall, even though it's not it's like a little slower tempo, I felt like it was just a really loud song and I loved that. um the one thing that kind of bugged me about it was the line, you were always great, which isn't a bad thing. It's just very vanilla. Like, you were always great. That's like saying like you're a nice person. Like, give me something a little bit more. But I think overall, I felt like it was pretty inspiring and definitely very loud. Loved the sound.
Definitely loud for sure. I'll go next on this one. That repetitive low like guitar riff, that doo-dung, doo-dung. I think that was really cool and it was very creative and I think it set the tone for this particular track. And especially with how the beginning starts, It's line by line. The car door, the pavement, the drop off, like, and you have that da-dung in between those things. Love that. Love that sound. I thought for a second, like I actually I agree with your take on this song. I think that there's a mixture also in here, and this wasn't anything that I read anywhere, but this is just me. It could be a little bit about remembering how people once really, really loved this band no matter what they did. Like they could do no wrong. And that could be a little bit, of this, because some of the lyrics do point to that. To be and be so great again, the sun inside will shine, shine again, shine again. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if they would go that far to do that or have that message in the song, but I kind of feel like it might be a part of the theme here. The song has an amazing bridge, especially like when you get to the parts when it starts with, and I will tell you, trying to get to it here, and I will tell you once again, you said you were always great. I'm more talking about the music here. Remember how it feels, especially that line to know and see, because the way it's delivered is to know and it's high, and then he goes even more powerful with and see, and then you go into the and be so great again. It's a great build. Musically, it sounds great, and it's that build is really what gets me here. Basically, it's higher and higher as you kind of get through that progression. So I mentioned the dirty guitars. I think you guys already kind of talked about that, and I think that guitar sound, that's what brings me back a lot to that '90s sound. But it's not just that. Like I said at the beginning, it's more of a thematic mix of what Weezer was mixed with a more mature sound. And I think that's what this was. It has that '90s sound mixed with something new. And what's really cool too is, and this is my last point, is I brought that up a lot when I got to some really, really great songs on Everything Will Be All Right. That album, I said the same thing. So I think this album does it even better, though. I'll just say it now. Like, I think it has that mixture even better now. And this song displays that for sure, 100%. Steve, what did you think about Shine Again?
Yeah, this is another real grunchy guitar driven track. I found the lyrics, as Ashleigh mentioned, I found them very relatable, nailing all the tasks on my list. There are days where I do all those same things, and nobody pats you on the back for walking the dog or doing the dishes, but acknowledging that you are accomplishing the things that you need to accomplish in a song. I got a kick out of it. The guitar scales are fantastic here. It's just a hard, gritty garage band type track. I felt like them having this one as a single, it started getting me to think about how like this is very different than a lot of like the Weezer radio hits. And I don't know that I would call this one a hit, because I haven't heard it on the radio myself, but you think of like some of their like real big hits. And I wanted, this is the question I stuck in my pocket. Do people consider, like, when we think about the band The Offspring, right? We think about they have these radio hits that are just like nothing like the rest of their catalog, and they're just like kitschy. It's kind of like that, like One for You, One for Me thing, like Original Prankster and Pretty Fly for a White Guy. And you kind of compare that to like Island in the Sun and Beverly Hills. Do you guys feel like Weezer makes certain singles to try and like get the radio popularity and it's just not part of their thing? Has that conversation come up this month?
I don't think specifically it hasn't. Um, Listen, I mean, you're talking about, I think those are two separate conversations with the two examples you gave. I think Island in the Sun was just such, it just hit at the right time with the right everything. It just felt, listen, again, we did talk about Green. Okay, so that was part of the conversation in that the reception, through and through was, oh my God, Weezer's back. And I love everything they're doing. Like, I just want to hear what they have, because people were starved after Pinkerton for more Weezer. So there was a lot of forgiveness with that. Now, that said, Island of the Sun was fantastic. So I think that combined with the fact that it had staying power because of the melody, because of the light nature of it, because of everything it had going for it, that's why that was such a big radio hit. And I don't think they wrote it for that reason. I think they wrote it to write it, and it just caught at the right time. Beverly Hills, I think, might have been more along the lines of what you're saying.
Mhm.
I think
I,
that might be a little bit more like of a radio song that they made.
yeah, I was definitely thinking of that one in particular because when I think of Make Believe, which I don't think you've talked about on this show yet.
We have not.
Yeah, that is Beverly Hills as the single. I feel is very different than the rest of the songs. So and is a little more pandering. Whether or not they meant it for it to be that way, that's my take. um, but yeah, it is. It is interesting. I don't know. That's a really tough question. I'd have to think about it.
Okay, no worries. Something that popped in my head. Don't make
It's
it
just
weird,
that,
guys. Don't make it
but
weird.
the thing is, like, some of the best Weezer stuff is this rough, grungy guitar stuff that was on Blue, that was on Pinkerton. Like, I know it wasn't Buddy Holly, but even like Say It Ain't So, it had really like rough, grungy guitars on it. Like, think of the riff on that song.
Sure.
So I know like it's you remember the things you remember, but really think about it. I think that this band, their identity lies with those dirty guitar sounds. So um I'll take the next one. I'll take and don't make it weird. I always seem to make it weird, so I'll take this next one. This this song is another just amazing song. Like I instantly caught with this song. I like that catchy the I said the car not starting correctly sound at the beginning with the guitar. I don't know what that can't make that, but you guys listen to the song, you'll know what I'm talking about. And then it just explodes into that awesome melody when he starts with the line, it's hard to relate. Feels like I'm lost in the wilderness these days. Like that's really just kind of kickstarts what is one of the most memorable melodies here on this album. I love that right there. You get another just banger chorus. It's phenomenal, catchy, bob your head. How can you not sing along? And he has some really fun lyrics on this one too. Some people call me River. And then he talks about not being able to. Here, I'll get it specifically. And then they tell me that I don't got any flow. I think someone brought that up in our Discord. I don't know. I think that's funny. But and then he follows that up with "I'm standing right here though." So it's like, hey, you guys are talking about me, but I'm right here. What's up with that? Uh, so many good things about this song, but I think again, just the melody and musically, I was sucked into this immediately. So another great song. Let's go to Steve.
Yeah, I mean, kind of a repeating, really chuggy guitar. That's that car start thing that I put into words. Rivers being very conversational in his singing. A really, really catchy chorus. I thought this was overall a great song. I immediately liked it when I listened to it, and every time it comes on, it's one of the ones I really enjoy.
Yeah, it's really catchy. I can hear the chorus in my head right now. I this is just a question from that I just thought of, but also maybe for you too, is that seeing the name of the song, "Don't Make It Weird." I'm like, is that him telling just everyone like, just don't make things weird, like be cool, or is he trying to tell himself like, hey, Rivers, be cool, don't be weird, because I think maybe I don't know, Chris, if you saw them on the Tonight Show, but Rivers was sitting there with Pat and Jimmy Fallon, and Rivers was completely decked out in a gold outfit, and I'm like, oh, that's weird. But I think it also works. It's also like, this is also something that he's been known for over 30 years. Like he's just this awkward guy who wants to melt your face. And he's going to be kind of quirky and kind of weird, and we're going to love it. So, yeah, do you think the song is him speaking to us or him speaking to himself, or does any of that make sense?
I think both. That's my take on it. I think it's a little bit of both. And I think it's written that way, where you can take it either way. It absolutely feels like it's introspective, where, listen, I mean, if he's talking from middle-aged Rivers, and I think that people that are of the same age range, can reflect on this. Like even those first couple lines, I was walking down Montana when I bumped into a lady that I know. I tried to make small talk and then it got weird.
Yep.
Yo, it's hard to relate. I feel like that's just the story of, potentially being just a middle-aged guy that's a little awkward, that isn't really that great at small talk. I mean, that's just a small piece of it. But if you look at the chorus, don't make it weird. It don't gotta be. Everything's cool if you let it be. Nobody cares, but that's quite all right with me. Yeah, I mean, I think that's going to the point where like it doesn't have to be that way. Like I know that there are going to be situations where you feel like, oh, like I don't fit in here, or my songs don't work anymore, or people say whatever they're going to say, but you don't have to. It doesn't have to be weird. Like just let it go. Listen to the music, get along with people, live your life, and everything's going to be okay. Like so, I see it in all those ways. Steve, what do you think?
The reason why I think you're right and that it's both, if you look at like the way that this song is constructed, right? The first three verses, right? I was walking down Montana, then it's hard to relate. Some people call me River. All three of those verses I feel like are very easy to digest. Then this last one, blinded by darkness, I was starving as I picked at the carcass. When they try to reach me, I'm already gone. I'm already gone. That's the one where he's saying something completely different. So I do think that there are multiple messages and they do work together, but you can interpret this either which way and both. So that would be my take on it.
That's a really cool part of the song too.
Yep.
That's where like the music shifts and it sounds really cool. So is that the bridge or is that like a post? What do you call that after the chorus?
It's hard to
Before the
say
end?
because so it's like verse 1, verse 2, chorus, verse 3, then there's that, then there's a chorus, and there's that again, and then another chorus. I don't know what that's called because I don't know. I don't think it's a
Called-
bridge because it repeats. I'm out of words. I don't know.
Called fun.
Yeah.
Fun stuff.
It's an interesting take on a song construction.
Cool. Well, speaking of interesting takes, Steve, you can start off this next one. This is the one that you talked about at the beginning. We might as well be strangers.
Yeah, that's right. Well, both of you guys, happy belated birthdays. Thanks for the Valium. This one works really well as a radio single, but it's not. I hope I didn't offend you guys when I said some of the Weezer singles come off kitschy. It's not one of those type of singles in my mind. It still has the guitars, but it kind of seems like it has a soft feel. I think that first verse is hilarious and it's a great way to start a song. Like that, the way this song starts off has me singing it throughout the day. Happy birthday, thanks for the Valium, and thank you for the stack of dirty magazines. Like that's funny and clever, and you wouldn't put those things together. That was not supposed to rhyme. But I really enjoyed that. I don't know who Wednesday is. I'll let somebody tell me who that is. That's a featuring artist on here. I don't know. I'm not really factoring that into my analysis here. And the chorus is awesome. It's catchy, but it's heartfelt and it's deep. Like there's a lot going on in this song. And from front to back, I also like the fact that it's a long chorus. There's a lot of lines if you like look at the way it's written out, but it doesn't drag. It doesn't make you say, holy shit, that's a long chorus. I think this one just works really, really well. And it was a very good single for them to release. And I hope it catches on the way that some of these other ones that I remember. I'm the average Weezer person that hears it on the radio and remembers some of them. Like I will remember this song. In 2 years, if we do another Weezer thing and I tell you I don't remember the rest of this album, I will 100% remember this song.
Absolutely. I think Wednesday is, I don't know, it's just a band. She's a singer or part of a band or.
I can tell you more.
I think that's Pugsley's sister.
No,
It's,
yes.
Gomez and Morticia's daughter.
It is a show. Yes, take it away.
I'm
yeah,
finished.
yeah, I can. Wednesday is actually, her name is Carly, and she's the lead singer for the band Wednesday. So I don't know I don't know if their whole band plays or if it's just her vocals. But yeah, they are from Asheville, North Carolina, which where I used to live. So I'm not super familiar with Wednesday at all. I think they have kind of a soulful southern grungy sound. So it was an interesting choice. I really like her voice, but one thing that I found when listening to it versus watching it was that her voice has a very similar tone to Rivers's voice. It didn't feel very different, and I'm used to any of the female vocalists coming in with a much higher pitched voice. So that I'm still getting used to. I don't mind it. I just wasn't expecting it. But yes, Steve, you're right. The name of the song, We Might As Well Be Strangers, I can hear it in my head. It is very, very catchy. I love the line, I was Nancy, you were vicious. Like, that's so clever and works on so many different levels. But just the, once again, this like really loud, heavy sound, but with this theme of like growing apart and some really, sad things about whatever story is happening here. We might as well be strangers. Something changed us over the years. And then the other thing that I thought was really the other line I really, really liked was the don't want your songs to become the clues as to why we lost you. And I feel like that is such a, when you think about um, rock stars dying, what do? We go back, we listen to the songs, we see if we can find out clues as to what happened. And I liked that it was called out in this. But yeah, overall, just I think a really strong, once again, like kind of mid-tempo, but still very loud, very powerful tune.
For sure. And this main riff in this song is simply unbelievable to me. Like it's that I'm not doing it justice with that, but to me, like listening to that is Weezer. That is exactly what I want. Like that's the sound that is why I fell in love with this band. Like things like that. So this really just reconnects me to that feeling, and I love that so much. And then I watched this video and it reconnects me again. The nostalgia that's tied into this video, just the guys, on a stage. And I love the way that she fits in with his band too. Like she's perfect to be singing right next to Rivers. She seems like she could be a part of this band Weezer. And I completely agree with you though, Ashley, on the sound. When I first listened to this the first couple times, I'm like, where is this Wednesday? Where is this other singer? Like is it like a harmony somewhere or what? And it took me a while to hear it, but then you hear it, and then again, you go and watch the video again, you see her singing. It's like, oh, I hear it now. Yeah, it's just a lower register on her voice, and it does sound a lot like Rivers if you're not really paying attention. But there's so much good things to like here. You guys said most of them. Just the quality of the sound. I love the melody. You could sing this one over and over again. Our kids, our kids would love this song. Like, I think this is a song that kids could, like teens, like this is a catchy enough song that I think that anybody could get into. And I really, really enjoy that because Weezer can write songs like that. You said it earlier. Songs like Buddy Holly and Island in the Sun. They do that. They do a great job with that stuff. This could be that. The other final thing that I'll say here is there's a couple other things here too. Okay, this thing that I wanted to talk about is it's kind of in continuation of Go Away in a lot of ways. Like you think about Go Away, that's almost like an argument happening in a song where two people are breaking up before our eyes. In that song, this feels like the aftermath of that after maybe they've already broken up. and you're kind of like, you see the person again. It's like, oh, happy birthday. Appreciate the gift. And, we chit chat a little bit, but we know that, right now we're kind of just strangers. We don't really know each other like we used to. What happened? Blah, blah, blah. Right. I think that's a cool part two to go away. And I think that also kind of ties into the fact that that song was part of the build for this album and they come out with this one. I hope that was by design. I doubt it was, but I really think that's super interesting. The last thing I'll say about the song is the finish. The solo, the guitar solo, that supercharged Pinkerton-esque guitar solo into that Rivers falsetto. And, kind of highlighted again underneath those falsetto sounds of Rivers, the screams by Wednesday, or by Carly, I should call her because that's her name. That was just top-notch stuff there. I love that so much. That put a cherry on the top of what was an amazing, amazing song. So, one of my favorites. Why in the world do I not have tickets to see this band 3 hours away on a Monday? Why?
Just do it. Go solo, dude.
I'm not going to go solo in another city.
I do it all the time.
Do you drive 3.5 hours solo?
I'm going to fly 3.5 hours solo.
No, you're built different than me.
In October.
I don't do it. I would make it weird.
Just don't make it weird.
Like,
be a CEO. Don't make it weird. Be in charge. Run that shit.
All right. Well, it's funny you brought up CEO. And there's so many cool things to talk about with this one. So, Ashleigh, I'm going to let you kick this one off.
Great. I think this is going to be one of those that, like one of the songs you just mentioned, Buddy Holly, I think my brain will always associate it with the video, because I think that the video for this is so clever and so memorable that I think it elevates my feelings about the song, which are already pretty strong. So I won't describe the whole video, but both the song and the video start out very much like the beginning of Undone the Sweater song. So of course hearing that sound, but it's different. And I think one of the comedians who's in the video says like something like nostalgia, but with a twist. And the song is both making fun of it, but also saying, yeah, we can do what we once did. But we're going to make it different. It's not going to be just a complete callback. We're going to improve it and really make it apply more towards now. So I think that bringing in the actors that they did, the comedians that they did to play them in this video is just really, really entertaining, really, really clever. I wish the song and the video were twice as long. But it's just a really, once again, like not super fast. I'm really, I guess, waiting for like a faster song. That's something that I would like, but it's still very loud. It is the melody that really like gets us into the chorus is just really, really catchy. And I think it's not just a callback to nostalgia. It's a critique and an homage. So I think it's a really strong fifth track on this album.
Steve, why don't you go next?
Okay, well, I didn't watch the video, so I didn't really know what to expect. I just listened to the song as if it was another song on this album, right? And the thing I said to myself is, oh, this is very the Sweater song-ish, right? And then I said to myself, okay, that's the point here as I listened to it. You know, they're replicating the first person speaking kind of thing, and it's got a lot of the same vibes. The song itself, in terms of the lyrics, is very, behind the curtain. Rivers talking about his writing, the band, like what he needs to do. This whole and this was the song where I said to myself, I got to stop thinking like a mad professor because it's getting me nowhere. Like, dude, you're not Nowhere. Like, why do you think you are nowhere? You fucking sold out a huge tour last year, and you're probably selling out the same one like, you open, or you're on the hugest festivals you open with, or, play with the biggest bands on the planet. Like, dude, you're not nowhere. You are good. I just want to, like, give the fucking guy a hug. In terms of the entire song, I don't think I enjoyed it as much as you guys. I felt like it was okay. Like, I didn't dislike it, but it wasn't like a super standout. Like, I think that I like it for its cleverness and what it's trying to do more than what it actually is. I don't know if that makes sense. It kind of makes sense in my head. So I appreciate it, but it wasn't like a standout to me in terms of the music or the lyrics. I like the concept a lot.
This is a standout to me. I'll just come out and say it. I wish you would have watched the video, and I would implore you to do that, Steve, because there are so many. I know you don't have ties to "Undone the Sweater Song," but
that was like my favorite Weezer song. So I mean, I have some ties to it.
Do you remember the video?
I do remember the video. So I gotta watch this video. I should have.
So you gotta watch it because
I spent my time listening.
First of all, this one starts with Rob Riggle and Rob Hubel.
Nice. I know Rob Riggle.
You would know Rob Hubel's face. You probably wouldn't know who he is, but the guy's face, like if you see him, you're like, oh yeah, that guy.
Okay.
And
I wonder if I could put it on the background and make it not.
There's an exchange, and I know you didn't want to go through the whole thing, and I won't do it either, Ashleigh, but listen, like there's so many good things in this video that are just Easter egg after cool line. When they say, yeah, we want something old with a new twist. You said that. And I think River said it before. He's like, yeah, I really like your ideas, but we kind of already did that. And the interaction then, from there is just hysterical. And then when Rivers agrees to do what they want, they say, yeah, I want to go. That makes me want to drink alcohol and play golf.
Oh, it's this guy from the league. I'm watching it.
Is that who that is? Yeah.
He's from the league.
I don't deliver it the same way he does, but it's phenomenal. They do mention, because there are subtitles throughout the entirety of this, where he's singing CEO and they're like, this is a disaster, this is awful. I think Weezer stops, the music doesn't stop, but River says, like, this is like something we already did, or this doesn't feel right. And they were like, no, like it's fine, there's a gold background now and we're not going to release any dogs, so it's different. But it's because, in the Sweater Song, they had a blue background and they released dogs. But what's also funny, and this is my favorite part, and then there's one more thing about the video. Instead of releasing the dogs, they release bees into the video. And that's what makes Weezer fly away. You mentioned all of the stars in this one. I hate to ruin it for Steve, but
I'm watching it now on the side, so you don't have to. You're not ruining it.
Okay, so Ashleigh, do you know who the stars are and the comedians that are actually the band that replaces Weezer?
Yeah. I wrote all their names down because so Christopher Mintz-Plasse, who's McLovin, he's of course he's a Weezer fan. Of course McLovin is. Yeah. Giovanni Ribisi, who is an actor. He's been in a lot of things. Michael Pena, he's an actor. Tony Hawk, who everybody knows. I didn't know who Dax Flame was.
Why hasn't anybody told me about this video? There's so many cool people in it. What? Chris, why did you tell me to watch this video?
I told you about it. I told you.
You didn't tell me to watch this video. Find the receipt.
Dax Flame, I think, was I want to say that maybe he directed 21 Jump Street and 22 Jump Street or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Or he had something to do with them. I
and then
know.
that other guy, Jay Renshaw, I've seen him. He's like a character. He plays a character.
He does. And I think he plays a character that's playing Rivers in this video. So it's really cool. Like
it's great.
It's so great. They replace Weezer. You'll see it. So go check that out. They even play hacky sack like Say It Ain't So. This one has everything. And you know what? Like the music here, I didn't even get to that. I'm kind of speechless. Like this this mid-tempo Weezer, I can't get enough of it, guys. Like this is what I want. And this again, this melody is so spot on with old mixed with new. Just like he says at the beginning, I eat this stuff up. Like this is what I want. I love the tongue-in-cheek aspect of it. I love the Easter eggs. I love the throwback. This is everything that I would want in a Weezer song, and they do it just again and again on this album. So CEO for me, even though like it was a little gimmicky, I don't care. Like I loved it, and I have played it so many times in the car. I'm sure my family is sick and tired of me playing this album, specifically this song.
Dude, you know what's a miss? They should have had Leslie Jones and Matt Damon in this video. I mean, all these stars, they really should have made that happen.
Maybe they tried and then they said no.
I doubt it. I feel like after that, well, maybe Weezer people make that a bigger thing than it was in real life, but I feel like they should do it.
It's a thing. It's a Weezer. It's a meme that's tied to. It's like it's all. I don't know if it's a meme or not. I just use that term, but it's definitely tied to the Weezer fandom for sure. So I don't know if there is a miss, but definitely something would have been an amazing addition. We'll put it that way. All right. Speaking of amazing additions, let's go on to the next song, and that's Hoops. And I'll go with this one. I'll tell you what, this one at first was like, I don't like this song. I'm not sure about this one. Guys, this grew on me significantly over time. And Hoops, I think one of the reason why that did grow on me, not only because of the music, it finally sunk into my brain, like, oh my God, like there's some really cool stuff here musically. I relate to this one. I just do. This is about the mundane frustration of middle age. Not my words, but I think it's spot on. I read that somewhere. I relate to this 1,000%. I just it starts with the first line, guys, about the toaster. And so, I bought a toaster just to make some toast. At first, I had to scan a QR code. Where's the jerk who built this hamster wheel? See, I think that's where, like, and Steve knows me well. Like, that I get frustrated with all that garbage. Like, just give me the toaster. I put the toast in and it's fine. And I think, Steve, you'd be the one to say, like, no, you got to scan the QR code and you got to do this and you got to do that. And so, like, that's where I kind of relate directly to this. That's no shot at you. I think you understand what I'm saying. But the music here, it has an awesome guitar riff. I think that they say some really cool stuff. He even mentions Calvin Brodus, which we all know who that is. And he warned us. He warned us, right? But it's an interesting line there, and it's clever. It took me a second to get into the music, but once I did, I thought that it was phenomenal, especially that last part where he's talking about being a straight talking man. That's probably my favorite part of the song. And the guitar solo that comes from that too. It's phenomenal. This one was a great track. Guys, what did you think about this one? I don't Ashley, why don't you go?
I would call that a post chorus, by the way. That's what I designated it.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, I don't have a lot to add as far as musically with this one. I thought it was pleasant. It was fine. It didn't stand out to me as one of the stronger ones instrumentally, but it wasn't bad. I think though that its strength is in the lyrics, and yeah, I felt like what I think also makes this album feel very of the time is just now we have this life where things are supposed to be so much easier. Things that used to be so hard to do, with the push of a button, or you just say something and something happens. But it actually has made things harder. And I think that is also very much a middle-aged thing of which I am as well. So it made me think of like all of the tech, AI, all of these things that were being spoon-fed to say like, your life is going to be so much greater if you just jump through these hoops or sell your soul. Uh, I think that I could really relate to it, and I felt like, yeah, I don't want things to be easy necessarily in this way. I don't mind things being harder because that is important enough. So I don't know if that's all that he was saying, but that is what I took away from it. So I feel like it was a pretty, uh, in some ways, a little profound. So I appreciated that.
He's saying that's all stuff that's true, but in order to hear more, you have to download the app in order to hear it.
Yeah.
Like and subscribe, please.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys know how many fucking hoops I jumped through today? Listen to this. My daughter made a new friend when we were over in Europe. My buddies live over there. They have a daughter, same exact age. She has a cell phone. My daughter doesn't have a cell phone. Their daughter's on WhatsApp, right? My daughter has an iPad and she's got an Apple Watch that has a phone number to it, but she doesn't have a phone. She has an iPad. The amount of hoops I had to jump through to get WhatsApp installed on the iPad when she didn't have the phone number of the iPad, and then somebody else used to have her phone number that had a WhatsApp. I jumped through hoops for 36 hours so that she could say hi to her friend that lives in London. And Chris, when you said it took you a few times for this to grow on you, this song had me from the get-go. When I heard the first two lines, I was in on this song because I love technology and I fucking hate technology. I just wish Rivers would have put in a verse about tipping culture and, you know, going to the place where you self check out a beer and they ask you if you want to give 18% tip. That's the only thing that could have made this song better, because again, the second I heard the first two lines, I don't think I laughed out loud, but I giggled to myself and I was like, I want to hear what he's going to say next. The chorus is not the most diverse or anything. The chorus is not really that great, but it's a fun song. It kind of goes slow, fast, slow, fast. It really, really harkened me back and reminded me of like Pork and Beans. Even just like the cadences made me think of Pork and Beans. And I kind of had to remember what song Pork and Beans was because I didn't know the title of it. I was just singing the Oakley knows the way to the something top of the charts. And I was like, I looked it up and I was like, yeah, this reminds me a lot of Pork and Beans, which is a good thing. I like that song. And I felt it had a very strong guitar and a drum solo, which was kind of at the same time. There's even like a little mini, it's not a scream, right? But it's kind of like a shout or a yell or something like that in the end. So this is the way to like make a song that doesn't have the strongest chorus and make it really good. I was immediately in on this one. I liked it a lot.
Sweet. All right. Well, why don't you keep it going with Nowhere?
All right. This one is, it's like slowing it down a little bit, right? In the beginning, a real nice vibey song kind of in the verses, but it has this grungy chorus. My favorite thing about this was kind of the post-chorus, whereas, you know, why did they clear the trees just to put up some shitbox condos? Listen, I live in a condo that used to be fucking trees. Like, this is true. And they're cutting down more trees to make more condos. Mine was built like 40 years ago. But anyways, there's kind of like slight changes in the tempo here. I like the lyrics. I thought it was nice guitar work. I thought this was a pretty good song.
Ashleigh?
Yeah, I really liked this one. I think because well, if it all had to come down to one part, I would also agree that post chorus, the like, why did they clear the trees just to, just to put up some shitbox condos? I think that's something that everybody can relate to, but also in some ways there's are necessities there. But the sound of that, it changed it up enough that I was like always excited to get to that part. I felt like it was divided into like three parts that repeated. So of course I can't sing it in my head right now, but it repeated those three parts once, and then it took the why did they clear the trees part up a notch, made it heavier, made it harder. And then the very end was that's what you get, like that part. And and then by that point I was like, oh, it's over. I want more of this. I want this to keep going, because it reminded me in a very small way of one of the best Weezer songs ever written, which is The Greatest Man That Ever Lived, which I love how that showcases their talent and the styles. And I liked that it kept changing styles and changing tempo. And I just wanted it to keep going, because to me, that kept it really, really interesting. The theme of like just being happy in the moment. I don't need to go anywhere. Like, that's very nice. But I really, I enjoyed the overall feel of the song very, very much.
You know what's interesting too is this is not written by Rivers Cuomo. This is written by Pat Wilson.
Hmm.
Oh,
He was actually the solo credited writer on this track. So I think that we see maybe just a little bit different of a way that the song is put together. I do notice that, and I think that goes back to what you were saying, Ashley, where it was like three separate parts, pretty creative in the shifts. I really love the way that the song shifts, especially from the beginning verse that it gets into that chorus that's almost like a strumming or an acoustic sound. I think you said it was a little bit harder. I maybe I'm at the wrong part of the song, but I definitely agree that this is like three separate songs that work together perfectly. And I wasn't bought into this one either. I think even less so than Hoops at first. But man, like this one again, it just grew on me so much. And I think it was about the music. It wasn't about the words. I didn't care about that as much. I really didn't understand why they were writing about what they were writing about. I mean, other than it was just something to write about, I guess. And maybe they feel strongly about tearing down trees for condos. I don't know. But the music is undeniable here, and some of the best that I've heard on this album. So, kudos to that. I think that they also have that. They have a Green album-esque solo here, where it's just the melody, and that kind of goes back to the Green album, which is one of my faves. So can't say anything wrong with that. Even though, again, this album does not reiterate that, or does not repeat that. There are some really cool guitar solos that are not just the melody on this album. This song just does it a little bit differently. So I like this one a lot. I don't think that I've been much different in the way that I've been saying things throughout this whole time. So that's okay. I'm the positive one here, but I am being 100% honest with all of these. Like, I'm not just being a Weezer mark. Man, like I can't get enough of this album. The Show Must Go On is the next one. Actually, I think this one's yours to take first.
I'm gonna be quick. This one was okay, and maybe only because I probably listened to this one the least as I was cramming for the test of this podcast. It has like a very like classic rock and roll vibe. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the about 2 minutes in, there's a really nice guitar solo. And the ending is cool. And once again, I feel like with some of these songs, I feel like it's just kind of getting started and then it's over. Maybe I'm really wanting something like Only in Dreams or something that just keeps going. But yeah, I don't have a lot to say about this one.
They've already done Only in Dreams, Ashley. That was already a song.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, Steve, the show must go on.
I like the chorus a lot. I like that this is kind of Rivers talking about, being a musician and what he's going through. I thought this was just kind of a perfectly decent album track. Not one that's going to stand out, but if there was one that might get like cut off, it could have been this one. And I feel like that jammy stuff at the end, I feel like I would have liked if it like bled into the next song or if it turned into something. I don't know if that I'm saying I wanted more of the song, but it felt like it it was just there and it could have served some other purpose, but it didn't. But I did like the chorus.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I think the next song, "Up in the Clouds," definitely is much different. I get what you're saying though. Maybe if they would have had a song that could have blended in, that would have been great. But I actually like the end of the way it was. I was a big fan of this one. This one actually was written by five people. So this one was written by almost the entire band, and I think there were a couple others too. So this is another one that was a culmination of a lot of different people. That wasn't just Rivers or solo Rivers. So I think that you got a lot of good things here. We got a pretty straightforward rock and roll song. I do love the guitars. Again, I love the guitars on this one. This is exactly the sound that makes sense to me, with Weezer. This goes along, along with what I've said before, with that mid-tempo sound. This is another example of another sound that I connect directly with this band, and I'd love to hear it over and over again. I love the part where they go on and on and on, and the elevation of the notes, between each on there. That's cool to hear. The crazy instrumental parts of the song are amazing. And, towards the end, you guys mentioned it, the end is phenomenal. They bring it back. They have the dropout with just the lyrics and then maybe guitar over it. That's always one of my favorites there. So, love the end of the song. And again, just another great track that I can't get away from. And I would say, Ashleigh, give this one another chance. Give it a couple more chances. I'm not saying that this one is another one that grew on me, but it took a couple listens and it became phenomenal to me. Like it really did. It went from good to really, really good. So give it another couple listens and let me know what you think. Before I go on to Up in the Clouds, I do want to mention if you guys have Spotify and you listen to this album, what's funny is behind each track, it's a animation of Rivers painted all in gold with a gold top hat, just doing something. So when there's not a video, there's him like playing the bongo or getting a drink out of the fridge or just like stepping on something and stepping down and then stepping back up. But he's did like all in that gold suit and gold face and gold top hat, and it's actually really funny. So check that out. Okay, Up in the Clouds. So this is one that has some historic ties. Fun fact, this one began as an earlier demo that was part of those 2014 Everything Will Be All Right sessions. So if you go back to the album or the episode where we talked about that, I mentioned that there were sessions leading up to that album where they wrote like 100+ songs. It might have been a lot more than that, maybe 200. This was one of those that was a demo that was later converted into Up in the Clouds for this album. So another tie to that album comes here, which is really cool. But another banger song. Like this is another great one in a different way. Like this is that nice, floaty, emotional, melodic track that Weezer usually finds a way to get in there. It builds to a huge chorus. It has big lyrics. Another amazing guitar solo. How could you not sing along to this song? It's so catchy. And I especially like the line or like the music behind the line. I thought that you were a perfect fit. How Rivers hits the notes on that line is just perfectly outstanding. Like I can't put it into words how that feels, but I tried. This song is great. Like, and it's funny. Like towards the end of the album, you're still hitting these amazing tracks that sound the way they do. So I'll turn it over to you guys. Hopefully, you have some opinions.
Go ahead, Ashleigh.
Yeah, I liked this one a lot. I like how it kind of began with themes of mortality. Once again, I know that like maybe that isn't exactly for some people like but for me for many many years it felt like Weezer was very much just catering to the young people and And I think that I finally feel like they're actually singing about their age, and which is older than we are, but we'll be there at some point. um but this theme of like, uh I I want to see like different perspectives, but also I want to just enjoy enjoy life while I can. um and you're right, Chris. I wrote it down, trying to remind myself Rivers hitting those notes at the end, how he says come to an end. I was like, man, this is also, once again, like, I really would love to hear more of this. And maybe that speaks to his all of these other themes that you were mentioning, Steve, of like, just get out of your own way, like enjoy what you're doing. And because I think people would really like to hear uh him like hitting those notes and singing that way. Yeah, and just the guitars on this one, once again, like the cascade of guitars sounded amazing. I thought it was a really good track.
Yeah, I liked how the song kind of grows, especially from like the second verse to the second chorus. And then they have the thing where it's like only bass and vocals, then the drums and the guitars come in, and then there's a guitar solo. There was a line in the first verse, I need someone I can listen to, someone who can remind me what I'm worth. Dude, you don't suck, Rivers. Like, you got all these comedian friends in your videos, and you got a bunch of money. Like, you're worth something. Like, you're good enough. People like you. I didn't really dig the focus on the bumblebee. I feel like that was a little bit overkill. Everything else I enjoyed a lot. The bumblebee things, obviously it's bumblebee and honeybee and bumblebee. I don't know if that's supposed to tie in to that video, or I mean, it probably can't, right? They couldn't have done that video before the song was done. I don't know. It was too much on that. Other than that, I thought it was a pretty decent song.
Keep in mind that one thing I'll mention there, keep in mind that a lot of these later songs weren't just written, like I said, weren't just written by Rivers. So it isn't necessarily him reflecting on his own life.
In my mind, it is.
That's not.
He's singing.
The truth. So he is singing. Yes, he is singing.
Yeah, I do want to mention the honey. He says honeybee 5 times, and then he switches to bumblebee. I'm like, those are 2 different bees. And I didn't like that part. I thought it was a cop out. But other than that,
yeah, I agree.
Ashleigh's actually a beekeeper by trade. She would know that.
Bees are very important, Chris. We've talked about this before.
Mm-hmm. Why are they important?
Because haven't you ever seen the bee movie? They pollinate the world.
No, I didn't.
The bees go away, all the flowers die, oxygen. All that stuff.
I see when a bee's around that it wants to sting my arm, and I don't want that to happen.
It does not want to sting your arm.
I did. I stepped on a yellow jacket nest when I was cutting the grass, and
yellow jackets very different.
That's different.
Honeybees
different.
Or bumblebees, very different. Yellow jackets can be very aggressive, especially this time of year.
There is a whoa oh oh in this song that you didn't mention, Steve. So I'm disappointed in you. By the way,
I was just so confused by all the bees and my concern for you squashing them.
I didn't squash those yellow jackets when they bit my leg up and down. I just felt burning, and I started running as fast as I could.
And you were buzzing like a bumblebee. Your heads were in the clouds.
Isn't it funny that in the CEO video they release the bees and then they talk about bees here?
That's odd. Yeah, it's interesting.
That must be something, maybe an inside joke or something like that.
We got to figure that video had to have been produced after the song was ready for this album, or at least written in most of its form. So they could be calling out something in, that to come. Absolutely.
Listen, if I was in a band like this and I could just do whatever, I'd have fun like that. Why not? Why not? And hey, to your point too, I know you just talked about like Rivers should be okay with things and blah blah blah. And the last album or the last tour sold out. That was based on nostalgia though. Like that was based on the Blue album and people coming back to hear that.
All these bands that we listen to are somewhat based on nostalgia. Every show I go to is they might be playing songs now or making new music, but so what?
But that's what I'm saying is people trash them for stuff that's not nostalgic in nature.
Trash. Let me ask you a question. I just Googled this. So this is just from Google. What do you think Rivers Cuomo's net worth is?
I mean, he's a million, like 5 million.
Ashley, what do you think?
Oh, I have no idea. I'm terrible at this kind of thing.
I don't know. Google says 35 million. So, bro, if you're
Oh,
worth 35 million, just do your thing.
Yeah, but when you're that rich, like, you have other things that you think about too. Like you're still a person, you're still a human being. He may be the type that reads the papers, and the papers aren't relevant, but you know what I mean? Like reads the Twitters, reads the people. And maybe it does affect him. I mean, sensitive people are sensitive people.
I guess so.
yeah, money can't buy everything. Can buy a lot of stuff, but not everything.
Well, speaking of money and being a band, there's this last song, this last track, the LA sound. And I think one of the best things that I was able to pull from this one, and a little bit of this I pulled from a quote, but I'll just say it. I think that instead of recreating what they sounded like on this track back when they started in '94, they're reminiscing and remembering what 1994 felt like for them. And, I think that's what they're singing about here. But at the same time, like the sound is there too. So they're still doing that meld of old and new here. I love that. This is a classic Weezer ending track that is super memorable because of the music. It's, similar in nature in terms of gravity to a lot of the songs. I won't compare it to Only in Dreams. I wanted to. I wanted to because I like this track that much. But I think that track is just a little bit more, it's just a little bit bigger. It might be a lot bigger. Okay, let's just say it. But this one by rights has so many amazing things going for it. This is another one that was not written by Rivers Cuomo. It was written by a conglomeration.
Is
And
that a word?
it is.
Conglomeration?
Yeah. A
Okay.
conglomerate?
Yeah, that's what I would say.
Conglomeration? Yeah.
I like it.
I think that Weezer does this last song thing. Like, how many times has Weezer hit it out of the park with the last song on their albums? I think they do it a lot. And they did it again here, in my opinion. This album finishes as strong as it started. You know, probably maybe even ends stronger than it started in a lot of ways. This has one of the most outstanding choruses that I've heard on this album, and in comparison to the 20 albums that have come out, from Weezer to date. I'm not saying it is the most. I'm not saying that, but it's definitely one of the most outstanding ones. And that moment, the music builds to, and it starts with the club smells like piss. That line building from there is top notch. And it's it's so nostalgic in how this song makes you feel. Just because not only does it bring you back to the time where they started, and by the way, if you do go back and you watch the Sweater Song video now, they do look like little kids. So I know it's tough to think about that, but go back and look at that, and what a bowl cut Weezer or Rivers has. But anyway, it's so nostalgic in nature, and just like in addition to that, though, like forget about nostalgia, the music, the solo here. I know I've said the solo on many of these songs are amazing. This one takes the cake. This solo is just phenomenal, like this guitar solo. So I can't say enough good things about this one. The melody, the sound, the way it kind of wraps things up, the thematic nature of the nostalgia mixed with early Weezer, them reflecting on them as a young band. So many good things with this one. I've listened to this song over and over again and did not skip to the beginning because I wanted to hear this one again. So I was a big fan of this one. What did you guys think?
Yeah. I really I really like that you, Chris, were thinking about the beginning because I was thinking about it more of now. And it's almost and it's both. It really is both. The way that uh the beginning of this song actually, if I listen to it the first, 5-10 seconds, and then I cut to the beginning of CEO, it's the it's a very, very similar beat, and which is also reminiscent of the sweater song. Um, but I think it in my mind, when they're talking about the LA sound, so this is a group of guys who none of them were from LA. They moved there. Rivers specifically moved there to be a rock star, and met the other guys there and formed the band. But this idea of like the LA sound, like it's them. They're an LA band. Like that is where they're from as a band and who they are, and they have been the ones to basically establish that. So it's sort of like self-fulfilling prophecy. Like we came to do this, we came to melt your face, and look at this. Like this is what happened. This is true. Um, you can't fake the real thing. And so it's sort of this like it feels like a very um yeah, like I said, self-fulfilling prophecy. I really love the guitar solo, which I wrote as zigzag guitars playing over the rhythm guitars. But it sounds so cool. um I mean, it's pretty high praise to compare it to Only in Dreams. I'm not sure. I need more time with it for sure. Um, but it's a really great ending track, and I really, really liked it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
I guess I kind of agree with you guys. Honestly, there's one word in the first verse which honestly got me hooked in the song. And Chris, you mentioned it. It's the word piss. I think that the word piss is really funny. And in my family, I have always not gotten mad at my daughter if she said I have to go piss, but my wife would get mad and be like, "That's not what you say," but I would laugh, so that would encourage her to do that. And we were listening to this song together in the car, and that word is quite pronounced, and we kind of just both looked at each other and laughed, and that really tied me into the song. And aside from the word piss, which was great, I love that in the first chorus there's kind of this juxtaposition, if you will, singing, "We're gonna melt your face, we're gonna torch this place," but he's delivering it in this like sweet, soft, high-pitched voice. Now the second time around and the subsequent times, much harder, rock it harder. But I love the fact that the first time he does kind of sing it kind of soft and sweet, and then it graduates. So I can't really personally compare it to other Weezer album ending tracks, but I thought this was a cool album closer for this album, and I enjoyed this a lot. And then if you have it on repeat and it goes back into Say Yes, I think it's very, good. Or you honestly, I thought that this album was quite quick. Not knowing, I don't know everything Weezer, right? So when I put it on Spotify, it might have gone to some other Weezer song I didn't know, and I didn't even realize that it wasn't from that album because it's 10 songs, right? Which is kind of like an album these days, but it did go by pretty quick. And yeah, I think it's a great closer. Liked it.
It's only a half hour, like 32 minutes.
That's a total.
That's it.
Yeah, it's quick. It's quick. It's quick.
They do albums like that though. I think that I don't remember what the first two albums were in run rate, but like Green was a quick album. They do that. But I think that that's just part of their sound and so on and so forth. So hey, we did it. And hey, before we get into the ranking it, I know that you had a question that you held off, Steve. I had a couple too. We usually do overall thought, like not overall thoughts specifically, but specifically how does this album stack up? We usually do that after ranking it. I want to do that now. So where like where does this album fit? And the reason I'm asking this question, and everybody that's listening to the show right now out there, I want you to do the same thing. Like think about it, listen to this album again, maybe. And I want you to be truthful about it. Just because it's new doesn't mean that it can't fit in the upper echelon. But really think about each track, how it kind of blends together, what the body of work is, where does this album belong in the rankings of all of the Weezer albums. Ashleigh, I want to put you on the spot. I know that you haven't had an listen, like you said, your opinion now may not be the same in 6 weeks or 2 years, but where does it belong right now?
Oh, it's, I guess, well, one thing that's actually kind of exciting to me is that this is the first album that I have gotten and listened to when it came out since 2016, which was the White Album. I kind of fell off for almost 10 years with Weezer. So to be excited to hear brand new music again is a big deal. Um, but that also means that all of those albums in between 2016 to now, um, it's going to be hard for me to factor those in to this whole system.
Sure.
The one thing I really appreciate about this, which I mentioned before, but was just that um, it felt very timely. It felt very like this is 2026, being an adult in, I think, America particularly. And this is what we kind of need is an evaluation of like, where are we in our lives? None of this is like super dark or super serious, but these are questions we should be asking ourselves. And I also really like, I think for me personally, the just the metal influence that is so apparent, and the grunge influence. And I wonder if that's just me being like, oh, this is this is the type of music I really like right now. So I think as far as where it lands with all of the albums, I mean it's never gonna be top two. Um no matter how much time passes. Um but I'm kind of, when I think about this versus everything will be all right in the end, I feel like this one just is a little more personal. Like it's not so much, that was a lot of storytelling, and this feels like a little more like this is about me, this is about Rivers. So if nothing else, I can say maybe I'm going to like this one a little bit better than that, but it's going to take some time.
Quick follow-up question. If you were not, you said this is the first Weezer album in 10 years where you listened to it immediately when it came out. Would you have done that anyway if you were not invited to talk about it on a podcast?
Yes, actually, okay. Yes. Thanks for asking.
No. That means that you were excited taking our show out of it, and that's what I was curious about.
Yeah.
Was that your question from before?
No, I think that whatever question I had before, I actually wove into our conversation.
Oh,
I don't have one pending.
So we'll never know.
I don't have one pending. I think it was the Offspring versus Weezer, the Offspring Weezer comparison. Okay. That's what I put in my pocket.
No, that was timely. Yeah, that made sense.
But I opened it.
So I'll answer that question, and then I have one more to pose for you guys, a multi-part, and I can do that because this is the last Weezer album that we're going to cover for probably a while. So I'm dragging this one out, but I think these are good conversations. So first of all, my thoughts on overall thoughts and where it stacks up. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention or keeping score, but I really didn't have very much in the way of negativity on this one. Like I pretty much enjoyed every single song on this album. And when you have an album that you enjoy every single song on it, it's hard to rank this one low, any lower than where I really want it to be. This to me is one of the best Weezer albums that has come out. I will say that. I don't care about the audio files out there that have, science behind why that's not true. I don't care. You like what you like. I like the fact that this one has a sound that sounds familiar and new at the same time. Maybe even more so that everything will be all right. I enjoyed this one from front to back, and I continue to do that every time I listen to it. I was never more excited to talk about an album that was Weezer than today because of that fact. Like, I love talking about all of the albums we've talked about, Green, specifically during this summer or this month. But this one, it just hit different. And I was a little concerned. I didn't want something that I was going to be ho hum about. I didn't want something that I was going to be just mid about. And this is so not that. So, will it break the top two? It's hard. I kind of want it to. I don't know how I could do that. Maybe 1.5. I think someday I could think about it. I could think of a way where this eclipses Blue. Not today. But if you guys have listened to what I like, Blue, Pinkerton, Maladroit, and then Green for nostalgic reasons, I could definitely see this getting in there at number 3. But we'll have to see about whether or not it could crack the top 2. I think there's a way. I know you said there's no way, Ashleigh. I think there's a way. I'm just not there
I
yet.
think this is the most I've enjoyed an entire Weezer album. But I
That
don't
says
really
something.
enjoy Weezer albums in its entirety for the most part. But I think that this one, from the ones I've listened to, I think I genuinely enjoyed the last 5 days listening to this album on repeat.
And
So
and I painted you in the wrong picture. Behind the curtain, pulling back the curtain. I thought that Steve was not going to like this one. I'm just being honest with everybody out there. I actually said, like, don't trash this album. And you said, what? It was basically like, why would you think that? Or something like
no.
that.
It was, I said to you, you were like, oh, if you can't join, it's okay. And I was like, I'm not listening to this album for my health. And then you're like, oh no, you hate it or something. And that's not what I meant. I just meant, I probably wouldn't have listened to it in its entirety if it wasn't for the show. But I genuinely enjoyed listening to this album on repeat for multiple days. And there are some tracks, we'll get into them shortly, that I could see myself singing to myself days to come, and I think I'll remember them. Like we did 4 albums, we did them a couple of years ago. I remember some songs. I don't remember the albums in their entirety. I feel like I'm going to remember this one more.
This is my last question that I'll pose to you guys before we get into ranking it. So, if this is a direction that they've taken for this album that's different than the last few, maybe the last several. Is this the direction that you want from Weezer moving forward for the next several albums, if they have them? I'd be happy if this was honestly, this would be a great share. Not that I don't want more music, and I do, but if this was the last one, I feel like I'd be okay with that. I feel like this would be a great just swan song for them. And I would be okay with their body of work if this was the last one. I'm glad that it's not, because I want more. Anyway, is this what you want to hear moving forward? And can they continue to do this sound and be effective with it? Can they make more albums like this that sound like this, that are that mixture of old and new, or will that become old eventually?
I'm not really going to answer. I'm going to give Ashleigh a second to think. But all I'll say is that I understand where you're coming from, right? Because it's the same thing for me, and maybe even with you, with Blink's last album, One More Time. It was an album that came out that we desperately needed, that involved Tom. It's a different circumstances. But if that was their last thing that they ever put out, you'd look at that body of work and be like, I'm fucking cool with that. That was a great last thing to put out. But yes, I want more. So I can't really talk about what Weezer I want in the future. I'm gonna pass that off to Ashleigh.
Oh, now you've got me thinking whether Gold and One More Time are like which one would be a better last album. But I don't want to. I don't want to think that. I would like if this was the direction. I would be very happy with it. I think also because we've seen what has happened in the past, and I don't expect them to go all the way back to the beginning. I hope that they wouldn't. I hope that it would be what the sound that we really like, the really heavy sound, but with the melodies and that's what they've got here. So I guess I do. I guess I would like this to be the direction.
Let me ask
I'm
one
with
more
you guys.
question
Yeah,
before we rank in it. Um, okay, so again, I'm not the expert on the Weezer discography, but you two clearly are. And it just seems like there's been so many different twists and turns and directions and changes and this and that and over 20 freaking albums. Is there any other band that you can think of that took this many twists the way it sounds to me? Because I don't know specifically, but it sounds like there were a lot of twists the way that you guys talk about it. Is there anybody else that has like changed their sound or reacted to the way that the media reacted to them or this or that or went this direction and that direction and then back to what they started with and then started to do something new and then they got criticized and then like I don't know that I feel there's any other comparisons. Is there?
I don't
yeah,
know.
Ashley, go ahead. What do you think? I
I,
don't.
I I don't know, but I do think that the fan base, especially the very early fan base, is very loyal and very rabid. So I think it, it that makes those twists and turns feel more personal. I Although maybe everybody who has a favorite band feels that way if they go in different directions,
Sure.
but the longevity is a huge thing. Like that is an incredible accomplishment.
I mean, Brand New took twists and turns. They had 5 albums, right? Over 25 years, and most of that was spread out. But all their twists and turns, the fans seemed to just buy into left and right. There wasn't like a thing, a calling, like go back. Even Blink, right? You know, sure they grew up a little bit with Untitled, and then but they still maintained somewhat of the sound, even through the lineup changes, even through the breakups and the get backs together. They still maintain like it was always Blink, and they did some sort of callbacks and nostalgias, but it I don't know, it just seems like this band just has a lot of lore. How else can I put it?
Which is amazing. Like I love lore. That's one of my favorite things. Maybe that's why I'm so tied into this.
Do you
I
think
don't
there's
know.
anybody that you can think of that like
I don't
has
think
gone
so.
through a similar journey? I think they're
I'm
very unique.
sure. I'm sure, but I can't. Maybe it's not a band that I paid that much attention or as close attention to. That could be it.
20 albums? I mean, Aerosmith sounded like Aerosmith even when they put out Just Push
Pink
Play. It was a
Floyd.
little
I don't
different.
know.
What?
Pink Floyd.
I don't know their catalog enough.
I
Maybe.
don't either.
Did the Beatles change that much? I don't know everything they did either.
Yeah, they kind of did. They kind of did. But I don't know the Beatles that much either. Like
Yeah.
I'm admittedly on this show, I'm not a Beatles guy. I'm not.
I find the history more entertaining than maybe I find the music personally in the general scheme of things. But the history is just seeing how passionate Chris like we've talked about it when we did what Weeze Timber a while ago, right? You did the base albums, you did 4, and now you've expanded upon this with 3 additional albums and a brand new album. So I'm seeing and hearing really like how clued in that you guys are to this, and I'm fascinated by that because I love rabbit holing bands that I really love, like even if they don't have 20 albums. So I'm just quite fascinated by the entire, the career. It makes me respect Weezer even more. Not that I didn't respect them, but it makes me respect them. The fact that they've gone through all this twists and turns, and it seems like they're like fighting their own fan base and the music industry and all this, but they just keep doing it. But Rivers got 35 million. He can keep doing it. It's okay.
Yeah. And some of that's tongue in cheek too.
Yeah.
I think you get that. Like it's not all him just whining about not wanting to go back to the beginning. Like some of it's just satire on the whole scenario. But that's fun too. That's fun too. I think so. I think so. Okay, guys. So we talked about all that stuff. Now let's get into ranking it. And this is where the rubber hits the road. This is where we got to rank our top 3 favorite songs off the album. Including one honorable mention, if you so choose to use it.
Oh, this is what you do when I take a few weeks off, is you throw fucking honorable mentions in there. Okay, I see how it is.
You may have one if you would like to use it. You don't have to, but those are the rules. So we always let our guests go first. Ashleigh, what were your top 3 favorite songs with potentially an honorable mention off of this album?
Yeah, that's great. once again, this will probably change over time, but for today's purposes, I'm going to give my honorable mention to Say Yes. I think it's a really great opener and such a fun. It really, it really made me feel like, okay, it's going to be all right. This is going to be a good album. um, and then number three is CEO, and really, I would say without the video, it would probably not be on this list. But with the video, it's number three. It sounds great. It looks great. It's really fun. Um, Number two, We Might As Well Be Strangers. I think the inclusion of a female voice, even if it didn't sound as different as River's voice as I would have liked, really took the song up a notch with both the themes and the music. And then my number one song is Nowhere, which I'm kind of shocked by because I actually knowing that Pat wrote it is surprising to me. I'm not usually a fan of the songs that he writes, but just the changes in it, and then that one post chorus, it just did it for me. So those are my top three and four.
All right, Steve, you're up.
Well, I didn't prepare an honorable mention because I didn't know that the rules have changed completely. So I'll just stick it to three. And top three wasn't that hard, but the order was. I'm gonna go with number three is "Don't Make It Weird." I enjoy that one very much, and I'm last minute going to switch my number two and my number one. So number two is going to be "Hoops." I talked about how I related to that song very, very much. I originally had it at number one, but as we were talking about it, I think it just has to be "We Might As Well Be Strangers" because that song just has the potential for the longevity more than Hoops does. But they're both equally worthy for that number one spot.
I think it's a great listen. I think that you guys are both right. I I have such a hard time with this because I like all 10 songs. How am I going to get a top three? I don't know. I think if I had to do an honorable mention, it's and I hate to do this because I love CEO, but it's CEO is the honorable mention. Okay, so this is painful. So Say Yes is number three. I can't get away from putting this in the top three. It's just a great way to intro this entire album, and I can't wait to get this album on a record, a vinyl record, and kick things off with this one. I did not buy it yet. Hopefully, I'm not too late. I think it's still available. I don't know. Kind of cool that Steve with buying vinyl. I just don't need to buy everything on vinyl. It's
You can.
expensive. Yeah, it's
You should.
expensive. But okay, so that is number three. Number two is We Might As Well Be Strangers. All the stuff that Ashley said, all the stuff that we all said, earlier when we talked about it. Love the female vocals. She's got a scream on her too, by the way, so which is cool. But I think I said it all on why I just love that track so much. And then number one, man, this could have been a multitude of different ones, but the LA sound is the one that really stuck out to me. Just kind of wrapping things up on this album, the way that it does, the nostalgia, the sound, the feels of the guitar, that solo. Man, it's more than just about the club smelling like piss, Steve. It's about that melody, and I can't get it out of my head. This one is a phenomenal track that I think belongs in that first spot.
Nice.
And that could change next week, but we shall see. And that'll do it. We did it, Steve. We
That's
got
that.
through another month of Weezer.
I did it. I did the entire month. It was so much fun.
Well, you listened along with us, I would hope.
I listened to some. I
You
was
listened to
gallivanting in Europe, man.
You've had time since you've been gallivanting in Europe, though.
No, I just got back yesterday.
Did you? Okay.
No, I've been home.
It's quite a vacation.
That would have been nice. We could have used a couple extra days, but Chris, I'm glad that in my absence you got to talk about, dare I say, your favorite band or one of your favorite bands, and seeing the passion in just this conversation and hearing it on my Zune over in Europe. It was a lot of fun.
I hope you listened to it on a Zune, by the way.
Yep.
Did you actually?
No, I got Apple Music though. I don't like it.
No.
Just
Yeah, listen, guys. I mean, I love a whole bunch of different kind of music, and I love pop punk. I love Weezer. I love so much. I mean, this just has a place for me for a lot of reasons, this band. And I think hopefully I was able to articulate that throughout this month. It's always sad when it's over. It's exciting to think about what's next because Steve and I have something really special cooked up. But it's always sad to say goodbye to a month of Weezer. Ashleigh, it was awesome to wrap things up with you here. Thank you again for your time, and
Thank
anything you want to say to kind of wrap up today's show?
Oh, this was so much fun, and I'm feeling a lot better about. I think I passed the test. Thanks, guys.
The test is over. You passed. Flying colors.
Yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. So until, next time that we talk about Weezer, we have a lot of cool things in store for you guys out there in listener land. But for right now, thank you for listening to this episode of High School Never Ends and taking the journey with us through another block of albums from the Weezer catalog. Hopefully someday we'll get a chance to do it again. But in the meantime, again, go check out things tied to the show. If you really enjoyed this month and this episode, or just the show in general, let us know. If you got Apple, if you got Spotify, either way, you can leave us a rating. You can leave us a written review. Let us know what you think about the show. Give us some constructive criticism or some praise. We love them both. And also, don't forget to check out our shop. It has some really cool stuff with our High School Never Ends logo on it. Not the Weezer logo, unfortunately, because we are not that band. But you can go buy that elsewhere. From us, you can buy High School Never Ends cups, shirts, hats, and a myriad of other things too. Go check it out. You can get there via our hub, which is www.hsnepod.com.
Yeah, you know what we just added is iPhone 17 and the newest Samsung Galaxy cases. Phone cases, because I got a 17 and I said to Jake, there's no 17 cases. I need a new case. So those are all available now on the shop. And please follow us on all the social medias. We're on Instagram and the Twitter X Twitter and Facebook at HSNE Pod, like High School Never Ends Pod. We have a Discord server you can get to through our website where you can chat for free and just talk about pop punk, Weezer, whatever you want to talk about. And if you want to support the show, we have a Patreon. It's patreon.com/HSNE Pod. And we always do like to shout out our patrons. First and foremost, Ashleigh on our patrons list: Jason, Sam, Chris W, Nick, Steve Kelly, Dr. Bernie, Punkish Dad's friend, Punk Rock Mom, Jeff, and Tom. Thank you guys for subscribing and support the show, and keep the lights running here if you go to our Patreon. Chris, do you want to end this? You've been ending it. Do you want to do it one last time?
I certainly do.
Okay.
And thank you, Wingman Steve. Hey, guys, we're going to be back again next week. It's going to be a new month, a new theme, and a new episode. But until then, keep on rocking those dad bods. Throw up those rock hands. And don't forget to blast the Weezer. See you guys next time.
It's Dragon Wagon.